Today we are still solving quadratics by factoring. I decided to make a video on how to factor by grouping. So instead of doing guess and check, another way that you can factor is by grouping. So this is factor by grouping. And this is the other way that you can factor if guess and check is not working for you. Okay? So the first thing we have to do is grouping by factoring is we want to group these two terms, okay? But if I group these two terms together, then this term is by itself. And then if I group these last two terms together, then the first term is by itself. So I have to figure out how I can split up this middle term right here so that I can group them into two equal groups. Okay, and in order to tell how I'm going to do that, you're going to take the first number, which is your A, and you're going to multiply it times C. So A times C. And A times C in this case is 60, and that goes on top. Okay, the bottom is going to be our B, because that's the bottom for B, so that's negative 16. Okay, then I have to think to myself, what two numbers multiplied together gives me 60? But when I add them, gives me negative 16. So negative 10 times negative 6. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you put the negative 6 first or the negative 10. So when you split it up, you're going to have 2x squared minus 10x minus 6x plus 30. Okay? So all I did was I split up this 16x into negative 10x and negative 6x, okay? And now all I'm going to do is factor by grouping. So I'm going to group these two terms together. What do both of these two terms have in common? Well, I can divide both of them by a 2 and an x. So if I divide this term by 2x, I'm just left with x. If I divide negative 10x by 2x, I'm left with minus 5, okay? And to double check, 2x times x, 2x squared, 2x times 5, negative 10x. Okay, so there's multiple ways that we can check our work. So now I'm going to do it for the same thing for the next two terms. Negative 6x plus 30. What can I divide both of those terms by? Well, I could divide both of them by a negative 6. Negative 6x divided by negative 6 is just x. 30 divided by 6 is minus 5. Okay, and I can double check. Negative 6 times x, negative 6x, negative 6 times negative 5, positive 30. Okay? So now what I'm going to do next is you should notice that what's inside of the parentheses is the same. So I'm going to factor that out to get x minus 5. So I factor it out. What am I left with? 2x minus 6. And those are your two factors. So that's what you should have gotten if you did guess and check. Okay, now all you're going to do is set both of these factors equal to 0 and solve. So x minus 5 equals to 0, x equals 5. 2x minus 6 is equal to 0. And x should be 6 over 2, which is a positive 3. So x equals 5, x equals 3. Okay? Now we're going to sketch the graph, okay? When I say sketch, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's why there's no graph there for you. So all you're going to do is you're going to draw an x and a y axis. We're going to graph the two x-intercepts. So let's say 3 is here and 5 is somewhere over here. Okay, we're going to connect the two dots. And we know that the arrows point up. And my vertex is somewhere in the middle, somewhere around there. And we know it goes up because of the 2 for A. And that's it. Okay. And that's how you can do grouping by, or factoring by grouping.